So, here is what I have so far. It's rather bright on this. Okay. And it's supposed to be one of these. So, I skipped out the whole process of carving it because there really is no set process. You're just gonna have to play around with it, and then this is not perfectly circular. Okay, it's got a few flat sides. They're not really. You really can't tell too much, but there are some flat sides. Like right here, where my finger is a flat side. There's a little flat side right here. For the most part, I rounded it out best I could. It's not perfectly flat on the top, and that's not a perfect point, but that's okay actually. I don't want it to be a perfect point. Now one thing about it though is that there is a defined area where the column stops and the earth underneath it begins to crumble and go into a point, okay? So everything above this line, this cylinder, right, in that area, is all going to have a certain, like, it's going to be, my hand's shaking bad. It's going to be like stonework. It's going to be bricks. We might have a staircase running up it, kind of spiraling up it. Atop here, there's going to be another brick pattern of some sort. And in this section, the cone, it's going to all be, it's just going to basically look like this, however it is. That's how I've shaped it, okay? Just like on my first video making the cliff, the flanked hill with the cliffs, it's going to look just like this. I'm just going to paint it up and dry brush it some grays and browns, okay? But this I have to find out a color I want to use because it's going to be like, you know, like an architect put it together. I'm probably going to use like yellow or something, like a sandstone. I don't know, whatever. But it's got to have a more finished look than this. So anyway, so that's where I am so far. So the next step is to just create the detail right now, all the little brickwork and the patterns and the lines. So I'm going to go do that. You can do it a whole bunch of different ways. Best thing to do if you're going to use a pencil is to make sure, or anything really, make sure that your pencil is sharp, it's not blunt. Or you could use a knife, but if you're going to use a knife, make sure you don't cut too far in. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start drawing how I want my brickwork to be. Okay, so I'll be back after that. Alright, so here we go. Not perfect, but as you can see that there's some sort of brickwork in it now. Alright. Now all the bricks are not the same size, they're not all the same width. Some of them are thinner than others. You can see like there's two large rows right here and then a thin row in between them. Another thin one and large one. It really doesn't matter. But there is some brickwork, and that is easily definable, or, you know, what's the word? There's an easy difference between that and just the earth spire that makes up the bottom. So, next is just the top. I kind of made a hole in there because I was using my compass, but it puts a hole in there, not very good. I might just try to freehand the circles instead of using a compass, which is probably going to be a bit better. So that's what I'll do. Yep. So that's where we are so far. I'm going to try to freehand that, and I'll be back in a second. Alright. Here it is. You really can't see it. That's a little bit better. Why's my hand so shaky today? See how my hand shakes? It's terrible. So yeah, there we go. There's the top. Not as precise as the bottom because I freehanded those circles. But you know what? It doesn't look half bad. And I'm gonna actually tear up some of that. So it's not all gonna be just be the bricks. I'm gonna actually have some holes in there, as well as on this side there'll be some holes. So that is the main layer. All the brickwork done. Got that done. Again, we're not really gonna touch this bottom spire. It's basically done. All it's gotta be done now is paint it. The texture is just perfect. Okay. It's the bricks that we really have to worry about. The only hard part of this spire thing down here is actually getting it into that point. Now, like I said, I skipped this whole carving section because I didn't want to, deal with it. But basically, what I did is I just took my big foam block here and I cut out, let's say, a block about here to there. Actually, it's a bit longer, probably to there. But anyway, it's a rectangle block, and I cut out. So you gotta imagine that this is square originally, looking at it, or rectangular, or whatever. And what I did is I cut each corner off so it became an octagon, and I started to shave off this at an angle. Started cutting it at an angle, and then basically what I did was I took this and just started rolling it over it to try to curve it out. And then down here to get that point is what I stuck it on here, and I really can't show you with one hand, but basically I kind of like cupped the sponge or the sanding block over the maybe I can show you like this. I cupped it like this. Alright, and then basically just twisted it. Let's see if I can go like this. Something like that. Yeah, like that. And then I started to twist it. And that smoothed out the point. And then again, I just kind of like went like this. Around, until I got a fairly circular shape. You're going to have to futz around with it to actually get it how you want. And then what I did to get this effect, if you watch my first video, all I did was I took my knife. Now remember, I defined an area where I wasn't going to go above. So first I defined the area exactly where I wanted to be. Then I started below that line, I started making cuts going downwards. Shallow, deep, varying in length cuts on the bottom, up on the top, blah, blah, blah. And then I took my thumb and started rubbing it and breaking away all of the foam. This is all the foam. And it left this jagged spire piece. Oh. And then you just saw me do the brickwork. And what I did with the brickwork, I didn't actually freehand these diameter circles. I used this strip of paper, and I kind of just laid it over, drew a line, laid it over, drew a line, laid it over, drew a line, blah, blah, blah. And then the bricks are easily done. You just draw a line around in equal divisions, and then you just copy it down every other line, and then for the ones you didn't do, you just kind of draw a line in between the other two lines. If you look at a brick house, you'll see it. It's easy. Okay, so that's it so far. I guess that's episode 2 and probably 3 because I've taken up too much tape. Bye bye.